when you say people, places, and things, can you elaborate on that?
Sure. People deals with all the humanity, people on the planet Earth. Places deals with any place you can go to, so like different countries, and obviously things are things that they say they can quantify. So normally most people can't think outside of people, places, and things because it's part of the spell in terms of keeping you within the three-dimensional world. So when we say three, people, places, and things, that's where you start to look at why do you operate on threes? Everything is three-dimensional. So it's like you would say morning, afternoon, and night. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. You know, everything you're taught is in threes because it kind of keeps you trapped. Because when you start to rise above the three dimension, there are dimensions outside of three, which you only start to know about these or tap into these dimensions when you start to look at things outside of the 3D. So let me explain that in another way. So if you look at mathematics and you look at shapes, so if you drew a square, right?
Yeah.
You know, a square with 4 sides, right? You will only see it from, if you're looking at it front on, you would only see that square, right? And you see it will have 4 sides, yeah? And if you didn't have any other way of looking at it, you would only think that's how things look. But when you have a cube, right? A cube now has what? It has, so the square was just one side, but a cube will have a side to the left, a side to the right, a side on top, a side at the bottom, and a side at the back. You follow?
Yeah.
So now you're able to see things from different angles as a cube, which has now got depth. You follow? So, like, if you just have one view of something, you only see a limited amount of information. So the people or persons that may be on the other sides are looking at something completely different to what you're looking at. You see, now, if you took that cube and put another cube on top of it, and another one to the side, and another one to the left and right, and then top and bottom, you will be able to now see even more information. So the more you build these cubes, right? But the cube is just showing you one dimension that deals with what we call the physical plane, right? And the reason I use shapes and mathematics is because mathematics is discrete. There's different types of mathematics, but when you're trying to quantify or build things in this physical world, you kind of use math to try and figure out things. So, but there's something else called a circle, right? Mathematically, a circle has 360 degrees, right?
Yeah.
A square also has 360 degrees, even though they look completely different. And one is representative of the things that are unseen, where even though you don't see them with the naked eye, they still exist in the state of what people call nothing or no thing, right? When you say nothing, you're saying no thing. But they're things that exist that are not quantified in the physical, where you say something, the sum of a thing. But not what we hear SOMETHING, not SUMTHING, the sum of a thing. So now when you start to look at the periodic table, it would start off at a point where they say hydrogen, H1, right? And then come into the physical, things get more dense, or we say things that are quantified by the building blocks of the different atoms that make them up. So we say something, the sum of a thing. But when you go the other direction, below hydrogen, you start to go into ether, or states that exist, but they didn't know how to quantify them at a point. But now we're starting with more and more knowledge, with more apparatus starting to delve, and people used to call that the spiritual world or the unseen world. But now we're looking into that world, and it's now broken down as having levels of ether. So we say E1, E2, E3 go into 9 levels of ether, and and that starts to go into gases and noble gases, and like you build from that block. So that's what we mean when we say people, places, and things. There are states, say for example, your mind
Yeah.
is not in people, places, and things, because you can't say where your mind is, but we know it's in a different dimension or different realm called the mental realm, where you get your thoughts from.
Your mind is not in your body, like.
No, it's not. You have a brain. You have a brain in your head, but then you connect to that mental reservoir. So you have, if you imagine a computer system, right? It's like you have your own personal hard drive that is connected to a network, right? Like if you had your laptop, you have a hard drive in your laptop or your PC, and it gives you the ability to connect to the internet where there's all this information, and you can save things down or download things from what now they call the cloud, right? So if you were imagining the mental reservoir like the cloud, because people just think the data, all this information is in the cloud, you see. So yeah, so we're using that as a way to explain that you have an etheric body, you have a spiritual body, you have other dimensions of you that exist on higher realms, but they're all connected to each other, and you need to tap into those to be able to access higher levels of information.